Hey guys, welcome to the most interactive overtime sports show. It seems like we've been off for a couple of weeks, bro.
Yeah, it does feel like that, don't it?
Where you been, man?
Man, we just I've been in Las Vegas. I went down there the week before 4th of July, hung out there for a few days, about 4 days, lost my money. That's what they call it, lost wages.
Lost wages. Sound like you was
Lost wages.
tossing it up, making it, and all that other great stuff. Welcome to the Overtime Sports Show. Brought to you by good friends. Yes, sir. Why that I know you will. Overtime Sports Show brought to you by good friends at Academy. Have fun out there. We're excited to have them sponsoring our Overtime Sports Show. We're excited to have you. As always, you can like, share, and comment on the show. It's interactive. We need your comments. We need you to share your opinions on all of the hot sports topics that we're going to talk about today. Of course, he is my partner, G-Man.
What up, what up, what up? A G and the Pimp, 2 to 7 on 97 out of box. Of course, we're going to talk that talk. Sports talk. We got boxing talk, UFC, baseball, you name it. We're going to talk it all.
Man, you know, we got to get into that NBA as well. We're into the finals now. Before we left, it was down to the Final Four. Now we got our finals game one in the book. And we got to talk a little bit about James Harden as well. But before we do that, man, I got to talk about this wonderful relationship of these two young men who are going to join us right now. It's a father and son who found fulfillment in the search for personal connection and shared legacy on the track field. We got an Olympian, we got a world champion, we got 2 state champions. We welcome to the show Danny and Bryce. Father and son duo. Hey, fellas.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, all right.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, man, y'all a bunch of track stars. And we're doing good, bro. You're doing real good. And I want to get started with this conversation today as we got to go back to 1991. And Danny, you were making some history of your own self, of course, in the 400 meters. You are now in the record book, of course, with 46.24 seconds. And it was something amazing for you back at Killeen in 1991, making history on that track. Take us back to that day for you.
Did he is he muted?
First of all, that's a long time ago, and I want to thank you both for having Bryce and I on your show this afternoon, and definitely reminding me of how old I am and how young he is.
Yeah.
For me back then, that was my junior year of high school, and my junior year of high school, winning. It was my second state title, and I tell you what, it feels like yesterday. Now that Bryce has come along, but before Bryce, it had felt like a million years ago, and I felt like an old fat guy that's reliving the past until Bryce came along. But that definitely a great time period to revisit, and I being at the same stadium at the University of Texas, it just definitely brought back some good memories.
Wow. And
I know, Bryce, for you, man, you know, following in your father's footsteps and seeing the great legacy that your father had. Talk about, you know, when you look at your father and see the records, was that something you said, man, I want my personal best to beat whatever my dad has done?
Yeah, so when I looked at the records, it was definitely inspiring, but I didn't want to try to chase after him at the same time, because I feel like if I just kept chasing after my dad, I may be disappointed. So I ended up trying to lay a foundation for myself and walk my own path.
That's what's up.
And I know for you, Danny, when you think about this, just to have your son following your footsteps, as Bryce said, not necessarily just to try to beat your record, but to have your son following your footsteps on the track. What does that do for you, and what does that mean for you to see your son doing this?
Okay, I am so sorry, but it was a little bit of a lag, so I couldn't hear the question in its entirety. I think it's Sometimes might be my bad internet connection back at the house, but
I got you.
But what I believe, could you repeat the last end of that question?
Yeah.
Sorry.
What does that mean for you to see your son following in your footsteps? You know, you guys are meeting on the track field, to see him following your footsteps in that.
Oh, I can tell you it's an amazing feeling, just because as a parent, you want your kids to be successful. And sometimes when you play the same sport that your child plays and you've had success at it, you wonder, hey, will my kid be able to find their own sunshine, or will they constantly live in my shadow? And you want your kid to be able to literally surpass the things that you've done. That's always an easier conversation to have with your kid, to say, man, look at you, you're great, as opposed to, hey, you know what, you never did what your dad did, or someone reminding them of that. For me, I literally watched him from an athletic standpoint grow from being a boy to a man in literally in about 36 seconds. To be able to watch him now athletically become his own man, to go through the recruiting process, to find his own school. Kind of growing up, everybody thought as he was ascending up the track ladder that he would go to A&M like me. And then they just literally assumed that's where he'd go to school. And then to go through the whole recruiting process, to watch him and hit the maturation of his decision-making processes, the people in the support network that he had around him, to just really watch him grow and become his own man. For him to sit there, and I'm sure it probably wasn't easy for him to have a conversation with me one day that says, hey, Dad, I found the university that I found to be home, and it's not A&M, right? And for him to be able to tell me, hey, you know what? I want to go blaze my own path. When all those things happened over the course of his senior year, and then for me to watch him at the state championship, to literally win his first state title on the 30th anniversary of my last state title, that was like the consummate passing of the baton from father to son. And who wouldn't want that, So for me to be able to be there that day and watch that happen, man, it's been a roller coaster ride all the way down to it's time to get ready to ship him off to college shortly.
Now, you talked about that day, and I don't want you to run over that day, but it was so special for you because I know you had to pull your phone out because you realize your son is about to do something that's about to set him on his own course. But take us into that moment when you see your son not only in the 300 but the 400 meter hurdles on that day.
Yeah, so when it's always a challenging situation because I also coach him. So I coach him, and I'm also dad. And so kind of going back to that moment, I'm watching the race through the lens of both a dad and a coach. And I'm watching him clear every hurdle, saying, okay, did you do this right? Did you do that right? I'm thinking about the conversation we had around race strategy. Yeah. How is our execution? And then on the other half, you're like, man, that's my son. He's moving. And then you watch him and they cross the finish line and you're like, all right, not only did he execute, but then as soon as the race gets over, that's when you really can kind of put aside the coach's eye and how he was technically doing each and every hurdle, to now I can embrace him in this moment and say, hey, you know what? My man did it. He did it. He got his own championship. Last summer, he earned his first U.S. national championship through the Junior Olympics in the quarter hurdles. So that was another thing where we kind of looked to say, hey, dad was a Junior Olympic national champ. Then son became Junior Olympic national champ. And so as he's kind of checking his box, the state championship one was the last box. And then for me, as soon as you cross the finish line, you're no longer coach at that moment. You're just dad. And you're sitting there, and there's that little suspenseful moment before they put all the results on the board and with the time, and you're sitting there looking and waiting for the results to come out. And then the minute you see your kid's name at the top and that number one, man, when I tell you, I cannot describe the weight that was kind of lifted off my shoulders at that point, to be like, okay, hey, he has arrived. And then all I wanted to do at that point was just hug my man. Because at that point in time now, it's just, hey, I'm like, this is our last big race together, because eventually I gotta turn the reins over to someone to take you further than we could travel together. And I could really come sit back and just be dad. And I said, it's indescribable.
It's got to be an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
It's a blessing. It is a huge blessing to be able to go through that.
And Bryce, I mean, you're a state champion, man. You're a state champion, bro. And I know in that race you had a couple of challenges that you had to overcome. But just talk about your mentality from start to finish, especially on that day. You're a state champion. I've been to Austin several times, and I know how it is in that moment that you realize, man, I am just a couple of seconds from taking home this state title.
Yeah, so that day I was nervous, as you might expect, but it was just the biggest stage that I've ever been on. And when I got there, I wanted to prove that I belonged there, and I wasn't just somebody that just so happened to be there. I wanted to make my name be heard, basically. And when I was running through that race, I was just telling myself that you gotta hit this time. You gotta clear the hurdles by this time. You gotta stay focused and clear it with a certain technique, etc. Just trying to make sure I have the best form possible. And it was hard. That last 100 was real hard because I didn't expect anybody to compete with me. Not trying to sound like cocky or anything, but coming in, I didn't expect anybody to compete with me like that because I had the fastest time coming in. And then I looked over to my right and I saw this guy named Denzel Hines just moving fast. And then I had to pick up the pace, and it got down to the wire to where I had to lean, literally like fell over because I just wanted it that bad. And I'll do it over again. I'll do it all over again.
Yeah,
to just
I was going to ask you, man. I was just going to ask you that too.
I don't care.
I was going to ask you, like, what goes through your mind?
And I remember looking at that board, and I was nervous because I didn't know what to expect.
Man, that's crazy, man. I was just going to ask you that too, man. What goes through somebody's mind when you're running on the track? Knowing me and my ADD butt, I'd be thinking about what I'm going to eat for dinner later. I mean, what goes through your mind like when you're actually running on that track? I mean, are you singing a song in your head? What are you thinking of besides getting to that finish line first?
So it just depends on the race, really. Like with that race specifically, I was just thinking about taking it out hard and not slowing down, because there's some people that try to slow down and then speed up. Well, me, I just like to take it out aggressively, and whatever happens after that happens. And yeah, that's really my race strategy.
Man, that's what's up. Of course, we know there's been a lot of controversy going on in the Olympics. I know you've heard of it, Dad. Obviously you know about what's going on with Sha'Carri Richardson. What do you think? I mean, she tested positive for marijuana. She took it in a state where it's legal, but obviously, like President Biden says, he says the laws are the laws and rules are the rules. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Do you think she should change it? What do you think about that controversy?
All right, loaded question. But before I get to answer that question, there's one thing I definitely want to do to give Bryce his props on the way from talking about his race, is that I'm really, really proud of the fact that in that race that we saw, he became the number 16 athlete in Texas high school history over that distance. Yeah. So you think about decades of talents that have come through the state of Texas, there's only been 15 races run at that distance faster than what Bryce did. And so when you think about from a dad's perspective, not only did he win a title, but he walked away as one of history's best. So, I definitely want to give you your props, Bryce, in that regard. Now,
thank you.
On to Sha'Carri. So it's tough because I think one of the things that as a professional athlete, as an Olympic or world champion, someone who does this, for a fact you are going to be drug tested at the Olympic trials. Top 8 finishers will be drug tested no matter what. You also know what is on the ban list. So it doesn't necessarily matter that it might be legal in Oregon, because track and field is a global sport that has rules that are built around the world and not for any one state within any one country. It's already tough as it is because America is so dominant in the sprints and the hurdles, and around the globe, people really believe that we get all the preferential treatment as Americans. And so that also puts us in a bind. I really love the fact that she was accountable to her actions. All right, that to me was key number one for her. Obviously, I feel like it should be changed. The rules should be changed globally because it's not because marijuana isn't a performance enhancing drug. And as a matter of fact, it's going to work to her detriment, right?
Yep.
So it didn't give her any advantage. It only could give her a disadvantage with her competitors. So in that part, I definitely think, hey, the rules need to be changed. But in the current moment, it's hard for me to look at her with a lot of sympathy because I know that she knew the rules. She knew guaranteed she was going to be peeing in a cup before she left. They were going to take her straight from that 100-meter starting line to the doping control room, and she was going to take a test. All right. But I have empathy for why she did it when she said, hey, look, at the end of the day, I just lost my biological mother. That's a tough spot for anybody to be in. And you know what, doggone it? Hey, personally, if that's what you have to use as your coping mechanism, I can't say that I condone it, but I can certainly tell you I understand. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that someone so young and talented is going to have this to be her first introduction into the event and the sport, and she'll miss that. But I guess from a silver lining standpoint, next year will be the World Championships. She'll actually have 2 World Championships, and then the Olympics, instead of being 4 years away, they'll only be 3 years away. And I think she, technically, this is also a young lady who left school and turned pro after her freshman year of college. So technically this year, she's still supposed to be a junior in college. So I do know that there is some maturation that's still needed, and so you try to cut some young people some slack because, hey, I know how I was at the age of 20. So I wasn't going to be the person making always the most responsible decision at 20. And it's just really unfortunate that she is in this position. But I also think there are so many talented U.S. athletes that are going to be representing our country at the games that they deserve our attention and our support right now because it's not just simply about her.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because we're excited that we have one of our own, Raven Rogers, who's going to be representing in the Olympic. Her mom actually grew up in the neighborhood from a couple of blocks from me, so I'm excited that she's going to be a part of that. So like we said, we're not going to turn the channel and ban watching the Olympics, but we want to support our own because we have a lot of great talent. And Bryce, before we get out of here, fellas, and let you get out of here today, I appreciate you guys coming on. But Bryce, I know you're on your way to the University of Georgia. Why did you choose the GA, bro?
I was gonna say,
I felt like Georgia gave me the best balance of academic and athletic success. Like all the people that recruited me basically told me the same thing in that case, but I feel like nobody truly embodied it like Georgia.
You listen, you're gonna have a lot of fun in Georgia. I'm not saying that just because Pops is on here, but GA is the place to be, bro. Listen, College Station is the country, but GA is the place to be. You're gonna have a good time.
And that makes me nervous. Hey, one of the first things that he told me when we were leaving Athens, we got back to Texas, he's like, man, Dad, I can't wait to go to Atlanta. I'm like, hey, and that's why you're not getting no car your freshman year.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You're taking no car.
No car. Listen, Danny and Bryce, this has been wonderful, man. Thank you guys for being with us. We're definitely going to bring you back on, especially as we move through the Olympics. We know that you're an Olympian, so we definitely need your advice on it. But we appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming on the Overtime Sports Show.
Thank you, guys.
yes, indeed.
Thank you, Rob.
Danny and Bryce, appreciate
right,
y'all, man. Hey, that's just a great story, bro. I remember getting the DM about a couple months ago about I don't know if it was his wife or his family member who DM'd me and saying, hey, you need to talk to Danny and Bryce. She kind of explained it to me, and that's when I forwarded the DM, and I'm like, we gotta have these guys on. I mean, it's just a feel good story to think that I honestly thought he was gonna go to A&M.
Yeah,
I mean, because you just how it is, but I'm going to Georgia.
Yeah, I've never been one want to follow just necessarily in your parents' footsteps because you're like, I want to go and make my legacy somewhere else. And I feel him on that. And to do it in Georgia, it's a great place to be. Listen, we got to get into this NBA talk. We got 2 Rockets that's rolling in the finals right now. Of course, we see with Tucker and Chris Paul Houston, we have a problem, and I think that problem was James Harden. Everybody that was on that Rockets team that almost made the NBA Finals was in the playoffs this year.
Oh, yeah. Man, that's crazy. I was just talking about that the other day. I'm like, you look at the rosters, every time they play, the Clippers, or the Hawks, or the Suns, or the Bucks, it's like you got somebody, in our starting five was it was kind of heartbreaking too, man. I didn't want to watch, man, but I had to watch last night because I want CP3 to get one, man.
Yeah,
and he played his heart out last night, man. He played his heart out.
Yeah, Jamelia, yeah. I'm starting to think now, man. I felt it back then. I just wouldn't say it. But yeah, James Harden was the problem, man. Harden was the problem. DeForest, I mean, yeah. Harden was the problem, man. You have all these guys that are not only have done good in the playoffs, but they're excelling. Look at Chris Paul. I mean, look at the impact he had last night. 32 points. Made a difference in the game. He was the catalyst, whether, with Milwaukee switching on defense, he was either throwing an alley-oop, shooting the ball in three-point corner, a three-pointer, or getting to his spot and hitting his jump shot.
Well, there's not much you can push past Chris Paul. He's a veteran. He's a crafty veteran. You're not going to throw no shim-sham at him. He's going to be like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? That man's got he's got everything in his arsenal to combat whatever the Bucks was going to give him. That's just what he is. He's a professional. He's a consummate pro, man, and he did his thing, man. I can't be mad at him.
But listen, G-Man, I want you to really hear me on this. 8 former Rockets made it to the conference final. 8!
I know.
Man, you can take a rotation of 8 people and win a championship.
I still go back to that day when we missed 27 damn three-pointers and lost by 8 or 9 points to the Golden State Warriors at home, Game 7. Chris Paul is out because it's hamstring. I'm telling you, the Rockets would have had 3 championships by now, total, with the 93, 94, 94, 95, and then that one that they just screwed up. I'll never forget that one, dude.
Why us, Lord? We had to deal with Bill O'Brien with the Texans, James Harden with the Rockets, man. And what do you think? Listen, I told you a couple of weeks ago, I noticed when Milwaukee lost, when New Jersey lost in the playoff series, you saw James Harden not shake anybody's hand. He just walked off the court, didn't even shake anybody's hand. How do you think James Harden feels right now? And I need y'all to chime in and give me a one-word answer. How do you think James Harden feels, G-Man?
I can't give you a one-word answer, but I can probably tell you that he's probably thinking, man, everybody looking at me saying, you big dummy. All that stuff you went through, that you put us through, and you get knocked out of the playoffs with a 3-headed monster on your team, should have been in the finals and couldn't get it done. I mean, I know a lot of Houston people were happy. I mean, James Harden's the homie. I'm not dogging him. He's the homie and everything. But as far as the Houston fans, I think Houston fans loved it. Seeing him walk up that court, laughing at it. I think they loved it.
Yeah, look, Ruth. I see you, Ruth. I see you.
Feel like caca.
Yeah, because my thing is, like you said, knowing him walking off that court, I could tell he felt in his mind he really. Now, I do believe he feel like they'll come back next year and win it. But in this moment, it's like you cried your way out of Houston, and the end result is your body broke down on you basically, and this the first time his body really, he had injuries with his body that he couldn't really perform up to his level. And it seemed like the playoff ghost that's been chasing Harden for years was back on his back one more year. And I don't care what anybody says, for him to sit and look at Chris Paul in this final and Chris Paul doing what he's doing. Oh, yeah. James at home.
Stomach, yeah.
He's sick. He's sick to his stomach.
He's mad, right? He's mad. He's sick. Yeah, I mean, but look, man, that's why we said that too, man. NBA, basketball, just like football, anybody can be beat on any given day.
Yeah.
And the Suns caught fire in the playoffs, and let's see if they can keep it going. They're up 1-0 now.
Yeah, just game one. I think we're gonna get 7 games out. Got to give it up to Giannis. He came back last night. I really didn't think he was coming back this series.
Oh yeah, me either. All the professionals, all the media people in the sport were saying there's no way he's gonna come back from a hyperextended knee. It's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. And to my surprise, he was out there game 1 last night, so he looked pretty good too.
Yeah, I think to his surprise as well, when he finally chased the player down and blocked the shot off the backboard, I think that gave him more confidence with that knee to make him think, well, I can really play with this. I'll be able to kind of go through some more games and really give it my 100% effort and hoping that they can come back. And I think one thing that Milwaukee has to do, man, they got to get out of that switching defense. You're going to get murdered by Chris Paul and Booker if you keep that up.
That's why I told you. There's nothing you could put past Chris Paul. And he's in Booker's ear every time in the sideline, practice, every time out. He's in his ear. He's telling him, look, man, this is what they're going to do. There ain't nothing you can do to Chris Paul or put any kind of defense on him that he ain't never seen before.
Yeah, man. And what do you think about the Rachel Nicholas thing? I mean, she made the comments.
I mean, but you know what? I was telling my wife this last night. We were actually talking about this, and she didn't hear about it. But I told her, I'm like, it was a conversation she had last year with somebody who thought it was a private conversation. It's like me and you.
It's never private. It's never private.
And they recorded her.
Yeah.
And although she didn't say anything racist, I mean, I don't think she was like really, but she was talking about her employer, like, man, they're a crappy employer. Their diversity is crap, So she basically talking about. So yesterday she came out and was like, "I love ESPN. I love working." Well, you do. You don't want to lose that six-figure salary, girl.
Yep. She was able, after so many years of work, to choose her own lane and to work the NBA talk show. And now she finds herself, of course, in hot water for the comments about Maria Taylor, who is, to me, Miss ESPN, because you see her working everything: college football, NBA,
that's
NFL.
What I was thinking. I'm like, you hating on this girl, but it's not like they just gave her the mic and said, "Here, you're black and you're a female. Go." No, she did because she got talent and she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. That's all it was. It had nothing to do with race. Nothing.
Nope, she just wanted, I know they got this long time of being horrible on diversity. They need to give her another position. Don't put her in my position. And it's like, wait a minute, you basically just working the NBA. You're sideline reporter every now and then, and you're doing the NBA show. But other than that, it's like, lady, Maria is excellent at what she does. She is great. She is gifted. And you can see she demands a high salary because she's good at every sport. So she came out and apologized. We just leave that where it is.
Yeah, she could have been the green alien from Mars, and I would have been like, man, she's doing her job. Let it be.
Let her do it, man.
It's all about performance, man. She's doing it, man.
Yeah.
So
and don't put it on diversity, because Maria Taylor earned her position, not just because she's a female. She earned it because she's one of the best in the business. And before we get out of here, man, we can't leave without talking about those Houston Astros. We got 4 players that made it to the All-Star game. None of them are starting, though, which really
because they're hating,
making me mad. It was a fan vote, so you know how that goes. But congratulations, to Michael Brantley, Ryan Presley, Carlos Correa, of course, second baseman Jose Altuve. If anybody out of that should have started, should have been Michael Brantley. Because he leads the American League in the batting average. He's the top, so how can he not be started?
Yeah, and then you got Gurriel, who's playing good, but Vladimir Guerrero.
He didn't even make it.
That's what I'm saying. Gurriel. I mean, obviously Correa should be starting at shortstop. I'm biased with him. Yeah. But you know what? All is good, because when the September and October come around, we gonna still be in that thing, and we're gonna start, making people, think about why they're hating on us so bad. I mean, I can get it. They're hating on us. Yeah, we're the most hated. I get it. I was in Vegas 2 weekends ago, bro, and people could not stand the Astros down in Las Vegas. No. On the screen, when they were showing up at the pool, the game, they were clapping when they would lose. I mean, it was just crazy, bro.
Yeah.
But I wore my hat. And I said, hey, I'm from H-Town, baby. That's what we do.
Yes,
that's what we do.
That's how we do it. And of course, they're in the series with second place, the Oakland A's. We came back last night to win 9-6. Man, listen, Jordan Alvarez hit a couple of home runs. Of course, got home runs from Jose Altuve as well. The Astros are rolling right now. The trade deadline is coming up. Jim Crane has already said he doesn't mind going over the luxury tax and getting us some more help on the back end of the bullpen. So I'm just going to tell the league right now, get ready. The Astros are about to do some amazing things this year. I'm looking for us to win us another title. Man, it's been another exciting episode of the Overtime Sports Show, brought to you by our good friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Listen, I'm going to get me some Astro gear like you from Academy. I bought me a cooler this past weekend and brought it out to our drive in July from Academy. So I got to go back.
I saw that.
And go back and give me some Astros gear. And online, I'm going to tell you this, they got 50% off online up until tomorrow. So you want to go to Academy Sports and Outdoors online so you can get
don't tell me that. Don't tell me
deals.
That. I can use me another Astros hat. I just picked up the actual July 4th hat. Picked that up, and obviously Academy is my go-to place. I mean,
yes, sir.
I mean, that's. I mean, where else are you gonna go? I mean, Academy is they got everything you need. I mean, that's
everything
from
the athlete to the student, baby.
They're actually 2 minutes from my house, right down the street.
Oh yeah, me up the road too. I can go up there and get me something. I need a barbecue pit. I gotta get me a smoker. Get it from Academy. G-Man, do your dance, baby.
I don't want to dance yet. I do want to say one thing. Man.
What?
Because I watch the news all the time, and me and Pimp were talking about this earlier, man. Did you hear about the kid that left the Astros game last night? Road rage, got shot in the head on life support. Come on, people, man. We got to stop doing this, man. Yeah. And I tell my wife all the time, every time she's driving, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, man, put your hands down. You ain't got to be, you don't know who's in the other car. So if y'all watching, man, just drive. Don't pay attention. Don't do no hand signals. Don't do nothing because it's getting bad out here, man. And this road rage, 17 years old, living an Astros game on life support is not cool. It's not
definitely,
cool, man.
Definitely praying for him, man. Praying for him to recover. And like you said, let's avoid all these road rage things on our Houston roadways because people are really, I don't know what's going on, but the mindset in Houston right now is not real nice when it comes to road rage. So guys, don't take that chance. G-Man, let them know how they keep up with your homie.
G-Man 979, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is G-Man Guerrero. I mean, I'm on everything, man. But like I said, I mean, I would dance and get into it, man. But my heart hurts for stuff like that, man. I just don't like to see violence like that, especially in our city. A lot of kids dying lately too to gun violence. Yeah. We gotta cut that out, man, for real.
Yeah, we definitely gotta pray for him. Follow me, Faith and Fame with AV. Catch me on Magic 102.1 weekdays from 5 to 9 a.m. during the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. Thank you guys for joining us today. Keep your head up, stay safe, and thanks to Academy Sports and Outdoors for the most interactive sports show. It's the Overtime Sports Show with AV and G-Man. Peace, everybody.
Yes, sir.